Hello and welcome to another episode of Into the Lumiverse with Tom Frisbee and Dennis Mosley Williams of DMW Strategic Consulting. G'day, gentlemen. Nice to have you again for episode 2.
G'day, Mark.
I'm going to keep going with the g'day thing. We're going to make it our little shtick here, but I'm super excited for this episode because for those that follow the Lumiant community or are part of the Lumiverse, they would know a lot of the noise we've been making about our recent acquisition of Genevity and their flagship tool, Halo, and how excited we are that sort of technology is giving us what we're going to talk about today, a little bit more of the intersect between helping clients become healthy, wealthy, and wise. So that's going to be the episode title and topic today. But before we get into that, as we do with our Into the Lumiverse series, let's start with a bit of stat chat that's going to start the conversation, and that'll help understand why we're talking about what we're talking about today. But
Perfect.
There are a couple key points to why we believe this acquisition for us and having the health side of the conversation is super important. And those key points are that 73% of clients are concerned about the impact their health will have on future goals. So that's concerning in and of itself, right? Because when you as their trusted guide are helping them with their goals, if this is bubbling under the surface, we know that that's important to talk about. But here's the stat that really rams this home. Of all those people, 89% of them don't actually know who to turn to discuss their health funding concerns. So only 11% of them actually feel like they've got a trusted resource. And that is just baffling to us, right? And why we sort of want to bring this entire conversation together. Gentlemen, I don't know if you want to start that conversation there. How do those stats make you feel?
Well, they give me the shivers, and they give me the shivers is because the innovation around this planning tool with Lumiant and the Halo bolt-on allows a client a more comprehensive picture of their entire situation, not just the creation of wealth, the plan as it traditionally has been, but how their values and their desires, aspirations in life impact that. And are they living out their best life? But part of living out that best life is their health. And so to have that component added in and to see the direct impact that certain components of that health matrix can make up and impact their sense of well-being, their longevity of well-being, and what they use their time for their wealth and with their wealth, to me is just a platform that allows all sorts of possibilities in depth of client relationship. And that's always my concern is how can an advisor serve their clients better? And to be able to have that component, to me, is just a stellar part of the offering.
Yeah, it's certainly one that we're really proud of, right? So for those that don't know Halo and don't know Lumiant, but the majority of our listeners here are the community. So hopefully you've heard us a lot. But the Halo tool for us is a online calculator type experience that helps clients based on their genetic, hereditary, and social and lifestyle factors get a better sense of what their longevity might look like. But not only just their longevity, so how many years they've got left, but how active those years are going to be. So if I retire at 65, how many of those can I consider I'm going to be physically active? And then once we finish those active years, what about those slow years, right? Where I'm actually going to need healthcare and I'm going to need help. And what is the cost of that? Right. So super important. And when you think about that in the suite of the Lumiant offering, when we've got the other end of the spectrum, helping clients define their best life through our values and goals conversation to go, how do you want to spend that life? Who do you want to spend it with? What memories do you want to create? Matching that to, well, here's the years you've got left and how active you're going to have. There's one conversation point. Do we need to bring any of that stuff forward? Or do we need to make any lifestyle changes now so that you can improve your quality of life? But the other aspect of it with the cost of healthcare that's coming into that calculation is advisors are great modelers. They're great at financial modeling and telling you how much money you've got left to fund the rest of your life. Having that more accurate, more tailored conversation around here based on where you want to retire is the approximate cost of this long-term care plan that you're going to need. allows you to plan for that in advance, because we know these decisions happen far too quickly and after an event for families. So they're often ill planned for, especially when 89% of people actually don't know who to turn to, right? That they can have a really big derailing sort of aspect to your plan. So it just makes obvious sense to us that if you're already having these conversations around what you want life to look like and you're doing the financial model, why wouldn't you go down this path?
And it just creates a better, well, that's where the wisdom part comes in. It creates a more aware client. Decisions are always made at a point of heightened awareness, right? The more you know, the more variables you have understood that will impact, the better decisions you can make, and therefore the better guidance an advisor can provide the client.
It's a much more robust discussion and conversation, right? It's a differentiator. And I mean this nicely. You're supposed to have conversations with clients that make them think. And the whole idea of healthy, wealthy, wise, considering your ideal life. What is wealth? Wealth is having an abundance of what you value. And what people value is time, and not just time. Time well spent, time well invested. And, I'm not even kidding you, gentlemen. Before I even knew we were going to talk about this today, I spoke with an advisor who said to me today, and what's the biggest threat to your wealth? Your health. And I thought about healthy, wealthy, and wise, and the role of the advisor as the advocate. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, if you purely want to go down the money side of it, it's the leading cause of bankruptcy for retirees in the US.
Yeah.
So if I'm a financial advisor and I only want to play in the money space, you can't ignore this. But for those in the Lumiverse that know that experience is so much more than just the money conversation, it's defining who you want to spend your time with, how you want to invest that time so that you create the memories, so that when you do eventually get on their deathbed, they're not there going, gee, I wish I had more money, right? They're going, I had all the time I needed and I spent it the way that I wanted to without regret.
Yeah.
If you're interested in that experience, then I think this is where we're going, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I hear from advisors quite often that this notion of the sort of what I'm going to call the opening up of the ability to provide guidance beyond advice for an advisor is a little scary because it's a new way of thinking. And there isn't a lot of sort of tools or mechanisms to track all of this for an individual client, right? So you have to start, experimenting and building. Well, what if you had a platform that would allow you to calibrate and keep track of all of that stuff so that you had an ongoing conversation that you could be plugged back into at any point in time and kept the client current? And that, to me, is the value. The value is the ability to create highly personalized guidance and advice specific to a client and let technology do what it does well in terms of tracking and cataloging all of that, so you can pick that conversation back up in your next interaction. And so from a point of, as Dennis mentioned earlier, of differentiation in a very competitive market, it just sets people apart. It creates deeper relationships. It allows the client to come into a space where they will be more vulnerable. And we all know that trust and the investment in long-term relationships has a great deal to do with that vulnerability. And that's the special place. That's the special place that an advisor holds in a client's life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think anybody listening to us would disagree that this isn't really important. And I think what you said a moment ago, Tom, is really important. It's not that people didn't want to do this. It's not like advisors, or all advisors anyway, were saying, all that healthy and wise stuff, that's great. But two things. One, perhaps it's not really my job. And number two, I don't even really have, aside from a one-on-one basis, a way to have that conversation. This offering obviously does change that, but I think it also reflects the needs of the consumer, the desires of the client. They measure wealthy differently And they want, and we know this, and everyone listening knows this, so forgive me, everyone, for beating a dead horse. But we know that what investors want is different. They want something more from their advisor. Excellent investment advice is great, but it's not everything.
And if there isn't a capacity there, to be able to capture and uniquely identify for each client what wealthy means, how they define wealthy, then you're going to default to a general assumption and presuppose what you feel wealthy is onto them. And what is that typically? The accumulation of money or worth or whatever it may be. But wealth, as society evolves into more of an experiential desire, in a general sense, wealth is taking on a very personal meaning for people, and you need to be able to address that in order to really get into those deep places with the client relationship. It brings me back to that FPA study that we talked about last time, where one of the big gaps where advisors feel they're doing an amazing job is that personalized definition of aspiration and so forth for clients. And yet clients, there was like a 40% difference between how the advisor felt they were doing with that and how the client felt about that. And really, at the end of the day, the client is the product, and how you're making them feel about all of this, healthy, wealthy, and wise, is all that matters.
Yeah. Think about what kind of problems you'd have in your business if you made all of your clients feel more possible. Just being with you, just having time with you, had this weird effect that they maybe wouldn't even identify unless you press them for it. How do you feel right now? You capture them, hijack them in the parking lot. Describe in a word. They were like, whenever I visit with Mark, I just feel more possible. What kind of problems does your business have then?
Yeah. And if we get right down to the bottom line and, leave the deeper benefits part of it, we get right down to the bottom line. What would this look like in terms of your business, the advisor's business? Deeper wallet share, for sure. Right. To use the term.
Yeah.
Across all offerings, right the way from investment accounts, retirement accounts, insurance, estate plan, right across the spectrum, because you own the residue on the brain. You own their emotions around that. That is a story that they will want to tell others. Almost to the point, I'm going to be really extreme here, but they would feel sorry for their friends that they didn't have that. And therefore the referral train begins, right? And then the last great business challenge is the retention of clients, right? You go to those places with people and they literally are your clients for life. Yeah. In both an altruistic way and a real practical
and physically. I mean, you've spoken about it. So gentlemen, as we're going to start to do, and as we did in the last episode, we might do a bit of a round the grounds for your final word on this. I think, it's obvious we could talk about this for a while. I think I got the last word last time, so I might kick off so that one of you lovely gentlemen can get the last word this time. But this entire conversation and this entire concept for me reminds me of an old cricket coach I had. And one of his coaching mantras he used to talk to me about in my leadership journey, which was you need players, in this instance, clients would be your players, to feel really confident, right? To do things really well. But you don't get confidence without clarity and capability. There is 3 C's, right? Capability in this instance comes from the financial advisor giving you the tools, giving you their expertise and teaching you, we're going to need to make this decision. This is how I think we could think about this. But clarity of what this is all in service for and what can look ahead. This is what we're talking about here. If you can give people more clarity about what's to come and how they might plan for it, match that with your expertise, you get confidence. And to your point, Dennis, if I can riff on making it feel possible, doing it with confidence, that's a pretty good experience in my perspective.
Amen. Yep.
That's right on. And you should make sure, Mark, that everybody knows that cricket's a game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
I
play
keep
with the
forgetting.
bat and the ball.
Yeah, it's a longer form of baseball.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's
Yeah.
not.
We'll do another one of these just on the concepts of cricket for the
Yeah,
for
I'd
the
love to
audience.
understand more because it never makes sense to me. So, if I'm thinking about a financial future as a client, not as an advisor, but as an actual client, if I think about a financial future, the notion of healthy, wealthy, wise is a platform that I can get excited about, that I can feel possible about, and that I can take confidence in moving forward. And I think if that's a gift that you can give a client to broaden out the conversation just beyond the creation of wealth, and then maybe what comes next, I think that's a real gift that you could give each and every client.
Create something that your clients can buy into. Healthy, wealthy, and wise. Differentiate yourself by adding value, by worrying about the things your clients don't talk to you about. That's what you should worry about. What are they not telling you they're worried about? Increase your market share, grow your business through referrals. I believe it's that lovely company Lumiant that says, hero the advice.
Yeah, right on.
Step up.
What a lovely note to end on. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Thank you, Lumiverse, for listening in. Can't wait to bring you our next topic next month. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, man.
Pleasure. Thanks, Mark.